And we have the next one. So I did it. I got the other set. They're darker colors, much darker, like dark blues, purples. We'll see how this goes. There's a couple of blues in there, some greens, but I don't think there's any reds. But it did. Oh, they just keep sending me secret messages in here, and one day I'll figure out what they mean. Okay, so I'm going to disassemble all the chiclets, and then I'm going to do a swatch out for you, but I'm going to do 2 boxes this time. There's going to be 2 boxes for every color. One of them is just going to be a complete swatch out for the normal way that I do it. The second one's going to just be water, and I'm going to do wet into wet and see how that works. If any of these separate like the other ones did, I hope they do. That was amazing. And then, in another video, I'm going to take some from this palette, some from the other palette, put together my own palette, and that'll be my new palette for a little while that I'm going to use. I'll show it to you. Alright, let's get into it. Okay, everybody, here is the palette, and here are the little chiclets all unwrapped. Some of these look weird, like this violet here is this one. No, it's not. It's this one. Okay, this gray mist here looks greenish to me. Now, it has a green pigment in it, so it could be, I don't know. I tried to set these up the way that they look off of the wrapper, which is going to be wrong every damn time. So, just bear with me here. I've done the same thing. I've gone out here and put down what it is and how light fast. All of these have 3-star light fastness. They're supposed to be a light fast set. And then I went ahead and put in, most of these are semi-transparent or opaque. Most of them are, this one's not, but most of them are at least partially staining. And they're all granulating, of course, because that's a granulating set. I'm going to call this the Shadow and Mist, because that's what every name is. It's either a shadow or a mist. So that's what I think this set is. Just quickly comparing it to the other colors, I guess most of them are somewhat... The good vast majority of them are either non-staining or semi-staining, and then most of them are transparent, but some of them are semi-opaque. Almost all of these are semi-opaque. This whole top row is, the whole bottom row is also. Okay, so everything in this set is semi-opaque. I didn't think that was true, unless I messed something up, which could happen. I messed a lot of things up sometimes, so nope, they're all semi-opaque. And almost all of them are either partially staining or fully staining. So, either way. There's a couple that are not staining, but the majority, well, maybe not the majority, maybe a 50-50 split. All right, let me close my mouth like I actually know what I'm talking about and just do what I'm doing. For our first one, now I like to set it up reds and then go down. First yellows, but there's no yellows. So, no yellows. I like to go yellows to orange to red. There may be some reds. I think most of these are purples, violets, and then, yeah, I think they're all that way. And then go to blue, and then go to green and brown. But there's no browns either. I think it's just purple, blue, and a couple greens. I think that's all that we have here. But let's find out. Let's see what we have. So the first one we have, Hematite Mist. And, yeah, it's fairly purple, I would say. That's a purple color. I would definitely say that. Now, here's the thing with these. I think that some of these may separate a lot more if you put a little water down first and then put some paint into it. So that's what I'm going to do here. We're just going to put a nice wet area here, and then I'm just going to drop some paint into it and see if it does anything there. If it granulates at all, well, it's going to granulate, but I want to see if the colors separate more when you do this, because on the last one, that's what happened. So I'm going to let them try and do it here. That's a very pretty color, actually. It's starting to separate up here. You can see some pink coming through the darker violet. So I'm guessing that's what's going to happen here. We'll see. Okay, we're going to go on to Violet Shadow now. Let's make sure my brush is clean. Let's see what the Violet Shadow looks like. Wow, that is a dark color. Oh boy, that is dark. That's a dark color. Not bad. Not bad. If you like purples, that's your color right. That's a nice purple right. It's very dark. Maybe you can use to blend into some shadows or something. Oh, that's not what I want to do. Uh, so here's some water here. Just put a little dot of water. And we'll go in with a little bit of these spots here and see if anything separates. I don't know if this color does that or not. But we'll find out, I guess. This one, there's blue separating out in here. So you can see the blue separating out on the edges. That's interesting. That's interesting. Next up, we have violet mist. So let's see what that looks like. That looks a little bit green to me. There's a green pigment in there, but it says violet mist. So that's weird. I don't know why there's a green pigment in the violet mist. And there you go. It's a violet color. There's nothing wrong with that. Can get very dark, but also gets very light. So that's nice. And once again, we're going to put down some water and see if that separates at all. We'll just get this area nice and wet here. And let's see, can we get it to separate? So the one thing I really love about these colors is how they do separate once you get some wet into wet mixes. And so I think that's very interesting. I love when that happens. That's a nice color. I probably would. This is more of a shadow color for sure. This here. Okay, so again, with companies naming things, I don't understand. This looks more like a violet mist, and this looks more like a violet shadow. But they've reversed those. So they think this is what a shadow looks like, and this is what a mist looks like. And I don't think that that's how that works. But let them do what they're gonna do. We'll keep going this way. Okay, a gray rose mist. I don't know what they think a gray rose mist looks like, but on the palette it looks green, like more green than anything. And it's not, of course. That's not how it comes off the palette. That's good. I didn't want it to come off of there as a green. It's definitely a dark color. It's nice. It's pretty. It's gray rose mist. So I'm assuming there's going to be some separation when I do this now. Maybe where some of the rose comes out. I don't know. That would be nice if that's what happens here. I'm not showing you what I'm doing, so that's always good. I'm a professional. Don't let me fool you. So I'm gonna put these in here, see what happens. Will it granulate? Will it separate out? The other ones so far are pretty much separating. Almost every single one of them is separating. We're gonna go back in and do a closer look at these, but don't worry, we're going to go through some of the details as well. Right now, I'm just trying to get them down on the paper, then we'll review them. But this is turning out to be a very pretty color. So is that. So I'm happy. I think that's turning out to be a green. That looks more like a green to me. I don't know, that rose mist thing might be a myth. I think they might be trying to pull a fast one on us. Alright, lilac mist. That is a bright neon color. If you are into neons, there you go. It almost looks like well, you can tell. It's a reddish blue for sure. It's supposed to be. There's a reddish blue with red in it. So I get it. That's what it's supposed to do. Not one of my favorite colors, but definitely a very nice, vibrant color if you like. You're almost like a neon ultramarine. That's what it looks like. Neon ultramarine. So if that's something you like, you may like this color. Maybe that's your thing. I don't know. Bob Ross used to say, this is your world. You do what you want in here. So let's see how that works out. I don't know why I have this all the way over to the left of the screen. I should put it more in the middle so you can see the other colors around it. That's what a real YouTuber would do, but you're stuck with me right now. Alright, this is dark blue shadow. That is a dark blue. Oh, that's a pretty color. Oh, that is a pretty color right there. My goodness, that's a pretty color. So you can definitely see that phthalo blue coming through, but it's mixed with black. It doesn't look, it doesn't, not to me, it doesn't look like that. It looks like it's a phthalo blue with like mixed with like a Prussian blue or something like that. But instead, it's a phthalo blue mixed with a black. But we're gonna go into the details. We'll go into all the pigments and stuff. It's instantly stained the brush. You see that? That's how you know it's really a phthalo blue. They stains the crap out of everything it touches. That's okay. I don't mind it. All right, let's see. Disperses a little less, it seems, in the water, so we'll see how it goes. We'll see how that turns out. Just an absolutely gorgeous color. This is definitely going in my palette, I think. When I combine them and I put them together, this one I think is going in there. That's a beautiful color. Okay, so after rinsing my brush excessively to get that blue out, and that's what phthalos do. They're just extremely staining. And it says it's extremely staining right there. That's what it says, and it is, I'm sure. All right, our next one is blue shadows. I thought, oh, then let's see here. That's dark blue shadows. This is blue shadows. Let's see. Very, okay. Almost like a Payne's grayish color. Like a Payne's gray, I think. Yeah, I think that's what it's doing there. It's more like a Payne's blue gray or Payne's gray or something like. Some blue grays, some of the Payne's grays look blue, and some of them they have more gray, and then they make a blue gray Payne's gray like Daniel Smith does, where that looks a little bit more like that. So, all right, let's get this here. See what happens when we just throw some color here. See if it separates. And once again, I don't know. Is it just me? Or do you all agree with me that if you looked at these two paints right here, the two blues, you would say this is a blue shadow and this is a dark blue shadow. But they reversed it. This is their dark blue and this is their regular blue. I just don't get it. Help me. Please help. Send help. Let me know what's going on. Am I not seeing this right? Am I the moron? I don't know. It could be. I've been told that many times. Okay, now we have a sky blue shadow. This better not be completely black. The sky blue shadow better be lighter. If it's not, this whole set's going back. Oh, that's not really a sky blue. Not a shadow sky blue. I mean, I could see that as like a stormy sky, but that's not like a okay, so here would be my conclusion of these here. I would say, you might even say blue shadow, dark blue shadow, sky blue shadow. But I'm the moron, I guess. That's not how I see things, but that's, I don't know. All right, let's see what this does. Does it granulate? Does it separate? Do things move out of it? That's always an important thing here. We're more than halfway done. I think I've gotten through this one much better or much faster than the other one so far, but we'll see how it goes. All right, here we have the Cobalt Mist. Now, I love the other cobalt colors off the other page, so let's see how this one is. And it does not disappoint. That is a pretty blue. Look at that. That's a pretty blue. It's definitely like a stormier color. Yeah. I like that color. It's a pretty color. I don't know. It's not my favorite blue in this set. I'm going down here, but we'll see. We'll see how this ends up with the dot test here and see if it separates and see what happens. So it's starting to, it spreads pretty easy. I don't know if there's any other color coming out of that. Maybe some black will separate. I mean, when you look at the pigment, you're going to say, okay, only black can separate from that. Nothing else can separate. You can't get a purple in there. You can't get a red in there. It's just the two pigments that it is. So, okay, we have an aquamarine mist now. Now, I love my aquamarines. We'll see what they do here. Don't disappoint me. Come on. And it's definitely a little bit too green for me for a teal color. I do not like the... Or maybe it's more of a teal and less of a turquoise. That's probably what it is. It's more of a teal, less of a turquoise. It's more of a green color. It's okay. It's pretty. It's a nice color. But, and that would be a mist. I would not call that a shadow. That's a mist. So at least they got some of it right. That's wonderful. I'm very happy about that. At least I'm not entirely crazy when I look at the names. So let's get some water down here, see what happens. Now that could be pretty, the blue separating from the green. Let's see if they thought of that when they did this. And that spreads like wildfire, so wonderful. And now we have the actual greens of the set. So we have the green shadows and the taiga mist. Now, well, I say taiga, it's not. It's Taiga, which is like taiga. Is a taiga mist, but they just do that to screw with me. I know. They're all sitting there. They know how I talk. Alright, here we go with the green shadow. That's a dark color. I can see that as a shadow. And I can definitely see the PG7 in there. So, that's nice. I can see it. They mix. That's a weird combination of colors. But they decided to mix black with everything. I guess maybe to give it the granulating property. But I'm not sure. Let's see. And all of a sudden I'm seeing everybody in the world is coming up with granulating colors now. Is that the new thing? I mean, I've liked them for a very long time, but very recently I've tried to come up with a whole palette of just granulating colors. I've never tried to do that before. But is that the new thing? Gosh, that phthalo green just stains just as bad as the blue. It really does. I don't use phthalo green. I used to use it as a mixing color, but I found so many other greens that I enjoy that I don't have to mix as much, or that are just as good with mixing. So I don't like to use the phthalo green. A lot of people do like to use it. It's not for me. I'm not supposed to be talking about pigments right now. I'm going to do that later, but I can't help myself. Taiga Mist. Well, that is a pretty color. That's a nice color. Look at that. That's a very pretty color. Almost reminds me of a perylene green. Matter of fact, it absolutely reminds me of a perylene green, but it's not a perylene green. So, PBR7. Okay, I'll get into them in a minute. This is baffling. This is a baffling color to me. Alright, let's get some water here. It doesn't take a lot to baffle me, so don't worry about that. But let's see if it separates. Let's see if the brown separates from the blue. I don't know. That's strange. Now, I hope I linked the pigment database in that other video. I don't remember if I did it or not, but if not, I will do it in this video. It's a great resource. You should definitely take a look at it. Keep putting my hands in the paint. That's always wonderful. I love when I do that. Messing up my swatches. So this is a very different set from the last one. And there's not a lot of colors I'd put here, but that's okay. I wouldn't use them as much, but that's okay because I would use a lot of the other ones. I only need to take about 4 from here and put them over there. So here we have an ultramarine mixed with a synthetic iron oxide red. So it does have, I guess, a purple effect, but the iron oxide red can be a little bit more to the brown side. So it's a very muted color here. It's very, very muted down. But if you look here, let me zoom in a little bit more. Alright, so I'm zoomed in a little bit more. Hopefully that's in focus and you can see it. But it does separate out a little bit, but you can see it here. You can see the ultramarine start to separate out. Let me see if I'm not using my fingers here. So you can see right around here, you can see that the ultramarine separates out. And I guess this reddish brown out here kind of separates out. This is, you know, this could be used for a lot of different things. This can be used as like a burnt sienna-ish color, or a burnt sienna dark, or a caput mortuum, or something like that. That's this color here is like an English brown red or something. That's what this color is, and here you have it. And it's even used like an Indian red, or one of the most populars is the Venetian red. So this brown color in here can be a lot of different things. It's a reddish brown color, that's what it is. And it kind of separates out here from the blue, but when it mixes together, it's just a very pretty color. It does granulate and separate out even in here, but you can definitely see it so much more when you do something like this. Okay, here we have this Violet Shadows. And it's a dark purple color, but it's not as dark. We're going to go up to the other one. But this is a dark purple. Very nice. You can see here some of the black separates out in the mix, and that's what it is. You have, okay, so right here you have this Mars Black, which is a very light, fast black, very granulating. And then you have this this dioxazine violet. That's what this color is here, and you can see it here. And if you ever look at that color, you know that's very recognizable. It's that bright, dark it's bright and dark at the same time, so it's a very nice color purple, and you can see it separate out here. So very, very nice. It's a nice color. I'm not going to use it because I don't use a lot of these purples, and if I do, I like to mix some of my own purples, just slightly different shades, but it's okay. This is a nice color. It's very pretty. Okay, so here you have the ultramarine. You have the PG17, which is that chromium green oxide, which is one of my favorite colors. I wish it would come out a little bit more in here. I wish you'd see the green separate a little bit more. Maybe a little bit, but it's hard to see in here. But you do see the it kind of looks like there's a black separation, but there's no black in here. There's the ultramarine, and then there's the permanent pink. And the permanent pink, it's kind of they call it a permanent pink fluorescent, the PR187. So it's not great light fastness. So it's like a 2, which isn't bad. Listen, a 2 is not terrible. I'm not saying that you can't use a 2 for light fastness when it's like a 1, 2, or 3. But the overall, the color they're saying is 3. But I would doubt that pink would last forever. It's not going to last as long as the PG17, I'll tell you that. Highly light fast, so, but it's still a nice color. It does separate. When you use it, it does separate out pretty well. If you look at these two side by side, you see you have the red and the blue. This one a little bit more in the shadow, maybe the blue or the green is coming out. I can't really tell. This one a little bit of the blue and some of the pink and some of the pink here. So they're very close. I think if you had one of these, you wouldn't need the other one. But some people may disagree. I don't know. You decide on what you want. They're both very pretty colors. I think this one would be more useful for me, but I might find a use for that. I don't know. They're both nice colors. These are the same colors. This Gray Rose Mist is the same colors as this one up here. They're not the same paint. They don't granulate the same or separate the same. This one, I can almost see a little bit more greenish tint to it, but you still don't see that chrome green oxide. You don't see that very well. But it's the same one. I don't get it. This color and this color are not the same. You see a green in here. This is more green. This is more blue. Maybe it's just how much of each is in them or how they process them that changes the color. I don't know. But I'll tell you, they're listed the same way. They have the same characteristics of each other. And I think that they're virtually the same. I don't really have much of a need for this. And again, I think this is the better color. This Violet Mist here is definitely the better color with just a little bit more of a choice, and this is not. It's a little bit more just of a gray. It's all it looks like to me is a grayish green. Okay, so in this one here, I just want to say in this set they like their ultramarine. In the other set it was cobalt. Everything was a cobalt. This one is all ultramarines, so maybe that's what they're using for their granulation. I don't know. But here's the PB29 again, and then the PR122, which is a quinacridone magenta. So again, bright purple because of that quinacridone, and this is already a reddish blue, and then you mix it with something that's a little bit more reddish, and you get that bright pop of color. It's just basic color theory, which I'm going to do a video on soon. I have to do that. It does separate out here. You see a little bit of the magenta separate out here, and a little bit of the blue separate out. So it separates. It's not as stunning as that rose mist from the other set. It's definitely not as stunning, but it's still pretty. You could still use this if you like that color. I don't like this blue. This is definitely not a blue for me, so I'm not going to use this color. But if you like that ultramarine, a little bit more of a purplish fluorescent ultramarine, this will work. Okay, so here we have the Mars Black again. This is the dark blue shadow, one of my favorite colors in the whole set. This is a phthalo blue, but it's more like a phthalo blue slightly to the red shade. The 15-6, you know, there's so many of these 15s. There's a 1 through, I don't even know. There probably is 1 through 6. But anyway, when you're looking at the green shade, you're looking at like the 15-3 is green. And some of the other ones like they're mostly, there's a lot of reddish toned phthalos. So, but they're all phthalo blue. They just depends on, you can have a phthalo blue green shade out of this if you want to. Most of these are like the red shade, but it could also be just a pure blue color. So it does separate out a little bit. You definitely see the black separating out with the blue. I don't know if that part is useful. Maybe it is. You get some dark shadows inside of here, which I get it. So the dark blue shadows, you get the shadows in this. The dark shadows come out, but I understand it. It's a pretty color. I will definitely probably use this one. I do like this color. This is basically a copycat of the last one, but instead of using a phthalo blue, they use the ultramarine. Now, I do like this color. It's very dark and stormy. You could do this as like a stormy sky or something like that. It's very nice color. It does the same thing where it granulates. You see some of the black come out, and you see the blue on the edge come out. So it's really not bad. It's not an overly red ultramarine for some reason. It looks more of a neutral. It leans a little red, but it's a little bit more of a neutral than some of the other ultramarines that I've seen. So, but very, very nice color, very nice shadow color, maybe like an indigo. So at first I was going to say maybe like an indigo. It's not too far off, but I think it actually looks closer to the Mayan dark blue here. I think this looks, it's a little bit greener, but I think this looks a little bit closer. I'm not really sure. I don't really know. These two look identical. Anyway, it could be, but it has that quality, that really super dark quality of an indigo. And so it's nice. I don't know if I would use it, but I like how it separates. And there's the cobalt. We have a cobalt in here. So this is the cobalt blue with the Mars Black. And you can see it. I don't understand why it looks a little bit greenish, but next to some other colors, like next to this blue, it looks a little green. But next to the green, it definitely looks more blue. So maybe, I don't know. But it doesn't really separate. Nothing really comes out of here. Maybe around the edge you see a little bit of the black come out, but really nothing separating here. Still a pretty color, still useful. Maybe for a shadow, or if you're going to do like a gray toned. It's like a greenish gray if you'll ask me, but I don't know how they got that from a cobalt, and there's no green in here, but that's fine. That's what they do. And here's another cobalt. So we have the cobalt mist. Now, here's the interesting thing though. Instead of using the Mars Black, we're using a lamp black. So it's a little bit more of like a brown undertone to the black, but mixed with a reddish blue. I guess it leans more towards like a gray. I don't know. It's strange. So it grayed out the blue and looks a little bit darker. This one, I don't know if it compares really to here. Maybe, I don't know. It's hard to tell. It looks very similar to the Mayan dark blue, and maybe that's what they use at Daniel Smith, but it looks close. It's a little bit different, but it's pretty close. And down here, I guess There's some separation there. I don't know what that is. Maybe it's a little bit of the brown coming through where it looks a little bit... I don't know. It doesn't separate drastically. It's fine, but it's not drastic. Okay, so we have the phthalo green blue shade mixed with the ultramarine. So again, I think this is more teal than turquoise, but it could be a turquoise, I guess. Just, it leans a little bit green for me. I like the turquoise that I like a little bit bluer, but some people like it a little bit greener. That's fine. There's no problem with that. It does separate. There's some nice separation here between the ultramarine completely separating out from the phthalo green on the edges. So very nice separation here. I could see this being very useful. All right, here we have a green shadows, which is your Mars black again, and then you have that phthalo green again. You could tell the phthalo green's there. It's almost all phthalo green except for a little bit of extra black to push it a little bit darker, but really that phthalo green is there. You can see some separation. You can see some of the black and the heavier spots kind of separate out, and the phthalo green around the edge kind of move away from it. So yeah, there's some separation there. It looks nice. It looks pretty. That gives it some texture. Taiga Mist. Let me tell you, the Taiga Mist is actually a very nice color. I enjoy it. So you have your brown iron oxide, which is usually very transparent, but then you have your phthalo. I don't understand. Well, maybe the oxides, no, they tend to granulate a little bit. Maybe they're a little bit semi-opaque. I don't know. But anyway, and then you have your phthalo blue green shade here, which just makes this a beautiful color. It looks very similar to a perylene green. Look at that next to each other. That's the perylene green, and that's the Taiga Mist. Let me move this down a little bit so you can see it. So anyway, these colors are very similar, and this is one of my favorite greens ever, which means this is going on the new palette. I do like this color. I really enjoy it, and it's going to definitely work for me. Now, something you can see, which will never happen in a perylene green, is this kind of granulates out. Now, there's not... let me explain a little bit here. So this PBR7 can go anywhere from like a... Oh, let me move this down. I keep doing that. I apologize. So anyway, this PBR7 can go anywhere from a yellowish brown to a light, like a darker red, but light dark red color. So when you have that yellow-ish side of it, that darker yellow side, mixed with the phthalo, you get the dark green because it's a dark yellow you're mixing it with. Kind of like mixing it with like a Mars yellow almost, but not quite. It's just a different color. But anyway, when you do that, you'll notice that it goes more like a yellowish green, which is, this is more of a yellowish green than a blue green. That's for damn sure. But it's definitely, it's nice. It's a very nice color, one of my favorites, and you can see the separation in here. You can see some of that brown around the edge of the inside there. Let me see if I'll point to it without drawing on it. So right around here you get that brownish separation there, and I'm sure I'm going to experiment with this some more, but it almost looks like there would be a black in here as well, but there's no black in here. So it's got to be that, I don't even know, the yellowish and maybe a little bit of red. I don't know, but it's very interesting color and color separation in here. So to keep this fair, I did this on Arches paper just like I did the other ones, and so it's all on the same similar paper, and it just, these worked very well. Some of these on this side really separating. A lot of these are separating a lot. You can see a lot of the separation. Then you get this way a little bit, stop separating a little bit more, but then it does more over here. But anyway, of all these colors, I'm not even sure which ones I'm going to use yet. I'm probably going to pick one of the darker blues. I'm probably going to pick one of the shadowy colors, and I'm probably going to pick this green here. This is a definite possible here, but maybe one of these as well. And when you look at these two, they look so similar. It's very strange, and they're just the one's a cobalt with a different black than this one, which is a ultramarine with a Mars black. They just look very similar. They separate a little differently. This was a little bit stronger in the separation area than this one was, but they both separate a little bit. Some colors I'm definitely not going to use. I probably won't use this color. It's pretty, but there's another one in the other set that I think is a little bit nicer. It's the exact same color. Never mind. It's the exact same color. There's a gray rose mist in the other set, just like this one. It's the same exact color. So maybe I will use this one because I'll be using the other one. But I don't know if I'm going to use this one or if I'm going to use one of these. I really like this color. I like how it separates out. So I may use this one instead. Most likely I'm not going to use this color. I'm not going to use this color. I may use this color. I probably won't use this color because I'm using this color. And I don't know if I'm going to pick any of this stuff. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes. And I'll come back in the next video or in a future video where I've picked my colors, my 12 colors. They're in the palette and I'm going to use them. So thumb up the video if you've enjoyed this. If you're now listen, I'm not trying to make you try and go buy everything that you see. I'm not trying to cause that gas syndrome, that gear acquisition syndrome that so many people have. Well, they call it gear when you're doing something, but it's like an art acquisition syndrome, but I can't say that word on this channel. So this is the best I can do. And so what I'm saying here is I think they're nice colors. They're pretty colors. They're not as good as the other set. This other set had so many more useful colors. And then once they separated that beautiful, these are beautiful colors once they start to separate. This is one of the most beautiful colors I've ever seen once it starts to separate. I love this. This is a turquoise that I love. So this set is nice. I love this orangey brown color. And I like this set better. But I will tell you that I like some of these colors. These will be going into that one. I hate these green colors. They're not my colors at all. I don't like them at all. Although I do like this one. So if I had this one and this one, I could probably mix any color I wanted. No problem. Alright, you know the drill. If you would like to join our community, go to illustrationsbypete.com. You can come in, you can put your own artwork on the site and promote it. You can find some inspiration in the free reference photos. You can just use them however you want in your artwork. You do not need to credit me. Or you can come into the forums and talk to some people and maybe give some advice and maybe find a little bit of information that helps you. So come check us out. Alright, that's about it for me. I'm going to go. I'll see you in the next one.